Mm.
So let's just make things clear. I can say whatever I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna keep in all the good stuff for leave it
Yes.
unedited, but keep in all the good stuff. Throw out all the junk because I'm gonna be really real and really open with you because that's what you just are so good at doing to me and everyone else, I'm sure. But it's funny because ever since then and what has happened recently, I get so many questions about how do you meet people? Where do you find these amazing men? Just about love and relationships in general. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to address this
Well, you're
through
not bad
your
looking and
podcast.
you have a pretty
Oh,
interesting personality to start with. So you've already got like, you're 50% of the way there, I would say.
God, high standards.
High, not to put anyone down who's listening or watching this. I mean, but it definitely makes an impact. But do you think what they're saying
Mm.
is, okay, we recognize like there's a universal issue of like, how do you find a good man?
Not even that, because it's not even just women that are asking me, but it's
Mm.
men. And more interestingly, men have the same issues as women. They're all trying to find connection
Yeah.
and they want to find love and they want commitment. And it's so hard because you hear a lot of women complaining about men being, block this one out, fuck boys,
No,
and
I'm gonna
just
leave that in.
ghosting them. And yeah, you're just gonna have to beat that one. Sorry. But women are just struggling and they complain about it. But I think there's a certain way that you can conduct yourself to magnetize quality men. Men, on the
People
other
who aren't
hand,
going to
as
do
well,
that.
it's right. And you're a male. Men want to commit, but they don't want to commit to the wrong person. And I guess they're wiser in that if they don't see a future, they're not going to just keep going along the ride.
I feel like, okay, so those are really good points. And doing this for a while, I have spoken to people and I've realized what most of the issues are when it comes to dating and relationships and all of that, because I had to. But something really interesting has come to my attention recently, and it's because I moved to Colombia to live here for a while. I'm not living here full time, and I'll talk more about this, but my girlfriend's literally sitting right next to me at the moment. So I got into a
Hello. I can't
relationship.
wait to, yeah,
And
I can't wait to meet
so
her.
I'm here in Medellin, which is where Pablo Escobar used to,
Yeah.
live and was born and lived and ran his whole drive. If you haven't seen Narcos on Netflix, I highly recommend it. Apparently, that's not even half of the stuff that he did. And that says something about him as a person. That aside, this place is usually commented on as the place where you'll find the most attractive women. Like it's just
The Mecca.
insane. Yes, the
Yeah.
level of
Yeah.
aesthetic beauty of the people that live here is just on another level. It's crazy. I don't understand it myself, but I would say that was one of the main reasons why I got attracted to this place as a man, because the women here are just really beautiful. And what came to my attention is what I'm trying to get at here is there's a lot of people who come here for the same reason, and that is to have
Mm.
sex with women, to meet women, to date women. And it's not the only place on the planet that people do that. There's a lot of countries and a lot of cities that
Mm.
people go, that men mainly go do that. And
Philippines.
yeah, the Philippines and we're seeing a little
Mm.
bit of a trend here in my history. Yeah. And I am in a relationship now. And
Mm.
one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead with the relationship, not the main reason, but one of the reasons is that I think I am not at my best when I'm being that kind of non-committal guy who just wants to have
Mm.
fun and meet people and keep meeting people. And it's a never ending game you're playing. So I was quick to realize that this time. It's almost like I've grown out of it. And I wanted to bring that up because you were talking about how men are a little bit wiser when it comes to scouting out whether or not that's a relationship they want to commit to. But I just wanted to really say that there's a whole problem with men and commitment in general. And it's because
Mm.
places, or I suppose we're not as traditional as we used to be. So the conservative values have disappeared for the most part. And these days, dating is like a never ending, like I said, a never ending game for a lot of people, even for some women too. I've met women who don't want to commit and don't want to get married and don't want to have kids, and they just want to have fun. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with it. But do you really want to do that for the rest of your life? You don't want to mess around with that, because one day you might wake up and you'll be like, why the fuck didn't I get married and have kids? I'm like 45 and I can't do that now, kind of thing. Yeah.
Is it meaningful? I feel like as you grow more mature, you seek more meaning, and maybe it's our hormones realizing certain things, but I think we just get a little bit lazy and complacent, can't be bothered chasing that bird anymore. What is it? But I think it's meaning. You realize that you feel good when you're surrounded by love, whether it be from pets or your family or your niece and nephew, whatever you have, even your passions. But that is what you start to seek. And when you're surrounded by love with those meaningful connections, you take it to the next level and you think, okay, I'm ready to be in a romantic love relationship. And I think it all goes from there.
There's a lot of,
don't you think,
factors. You brought up something really interesting, which is biological triggers and the way that they change your behavior, even on a subconscious level. I am much more open to relationship now because of the fact that my hair's falling out and I'm getting older, and I'm like, okay, maybe it is gonna.
I can't believe
my hair
you
comes
actually.
back. Here's the thing. This is the test. If my hair comes back full like tilt like next year, am I gonna just leave my girlfriend? That would be the funniest thing ever. Not for her, but for, just in general.
You are just so ridiculous, and I cannot believe your honesty, and you came out with that just flat out. Is that what's happening?
I think I've been watching too much Ricky Gervais lately.
I'm turning.
It's probably one of the reasons.
He is the best.
Yeah.
Isn't he the greatest? One of my favorite all-time comedians, Ricky Gervais, Bill Bailey.
Yeah.
Bill Bailey, excellent.
Bill Bailey. Yeah, we were watching Humanity on Netflix, and it was difficult to watch like with someone, because you could feel the tension. You could feel that the jokes just weren't getting accepted, and you're all trying to laugh and they're like not laughing, and you're like, it's just a joke. He's just joking about that. But that's why I was saying, but that was a good point you brought up, the whole biological aspect of it. But yeah, what does it really, you could probably have a meaningful relationship. It's not like a probable, you definitely can have a meaningful relationship for your entire life and not get married and not have kids. So what is it that I'm basically trying to say? I think there's no one size fits all for everybody, but me personally, I'm an addict. I'm an addict. I'm a sex addict. I'm an alcohol addict. I'm a gaming addict. I have had these addictions in my life that I've had to come to terms with. And Joe Rogan talks about this on his podcast with a neuroscientist, I believe. And they're talking about addiction in general. And he used to be addicted to like video game called Quake, which is like this, oh my God, I'm not even going to go into it. But basically that is a really, nowadays, if you play that, it's what the fuck did people play this for? This is a really shitty game. There's nothing to do on it. But it was one of the first ones that came out that was really, and he was addicted to that. And he said he would stay up all night and he would play it. But it was the competitive aspect of it that he was finding that it was addictive. For me, it's the feeling, it's the emotion that I get. It's the dopamine release that I get. And so I got addicted to not just gaming, but like sex and alcohol. Thank God I didn't get addicted to drugs. I think my parents did a really good job of kind of making me aware of perhaps the trials of doing drugs. But I don't want to, I want to be mature, and I want to live a life that has that, where I'm growing as a person. And if I don't get in a relationship, and if I don't have children, I don't think that I'm going to reach my potential.
That is the most beautiful thing. That is the most beautiful thing I've heard you say. Smooshy. You're getting really mushy. It's funny you talk about the addiction. And I was thinking, would you admit that you've been addicted to love? About all of the neurotransmitters that get released during courtship and when you actually fall in love. You got adrenaline when you're first attracted to someone, and then you have that dopamine when you're falling in love, which is basically the same release, works on the same reward pathway as cocaine. And then you have oxytocin, which is similar to heroin. So it is so easy to become addicted to. I thought you would have looked into the neuroscience behind love, because I find it so fascinating, and I wanted to understand the brain and what actually happens when people fall in love. And it's it is a genuine addiction.
It must be one of the most addictive experiences because of the kind of immediate physiological impact it has on you. That's what everyone always writes songs about and makes movies about. And that honeymoon phase is just insane, how it changes your entire perspective on life. And I was thinking about this the other day. My girlfriend doesn't speak English, and even though she's sitting to the left of me and she doesn't speak English, I'm still a little bit concerned about the things that I'm saying.
She is
thanks.
She is gorgeous, by the way. And before you turned on the camera and the microphone, or before you knew I was here, I heard you speaking Spanish. Is that Spanish?
Yeah, so in Latin America, in Colombia, they speak Spanish, and that's what I've been speaking every single day for the last month or so. And my brain is dead, basically. I'm just.
It's impressive. I said, oh, there he is. He's speaking Spanish now. This is the coolest thing ever.
Well, yeah, I got a head start. I lived in Spain for a while. I have that under my belt. But I feel a little bit weird saying these things, because one day she may very well learn English and then go into the backlogs of Unleash Love and find things that she wasn't supposed to find. But okay, so here's what I'm going to say. This relationship, and I've had 18 years of relationships. Okay, so I've had 2 5-year relationships, 2 2-year relationships, and then a bunch of other relationships. Altogether, probably around about 18 years. It's a lot of time. And every single relationship I had gotten into until this one, I had a massive honeymoon phase. It was like that sweep you off your feet feeling. And that's,
I know that feeling.
Cool.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. And it's an interesting feeling. And it's the one that is the addictive one that you're talking about. It's the one that says, oh, I just fooled myself. I've just become whole. And so you're tricking yourself almost into thinking that this other person has given you the missing pieces of you. You're missing pieces of your heart.
You're just blinded. That's what happens. You're totally blinded. You've got to understand that dopamine actually, it runs through the limbic system. And studies have shown that the stronger your limbic system is, or when there's a flood, less of your cortex is actually functioning. So you are less conscious. Yeah, it's crazy. You are literally, you don't know what's going on because you're just running on this high. So the rest of your brain switches off. You're not as logical. That's interesting. And
what is your, okay, before I ask you this question, I'm just going to finish off what I was saying earlier, but I agree with you. Yeah, that definitely is interesting. And I didn't even know that part about your cortex shutting down. That makes a lot of sense though, come to think of it, because you do make some silly mistakes and some stupid decisions. But this is the only relationship where that hasn't actually happened to me. And it's interesting because I'm very much I really enjoy spending time with her, and we're already saying I love you, and because it's real, I do feel it, and I do really love spending time with her, and I think she's an amazing person, and we both feel that same way about each other. But it's not like it was before. I don't know, everything turned off apart from the relationship. In the last times that I had gotten with someone, everything in my life just disappeared apart from that one person I had just started something with. And that's how powerful falling in love was for me in the past. Now I'm like, I want to spend time together, but I don't let it overtake me, and I don't let it consume me. I still focus on things that are important. I know this might sound a bit weird to some people, because they'll be like, duh, that's what you're supposed to do.
No. Do you know what I love so much about everything you're saying? It is, I feel like this is going to, well, who knows, maybe she'll be the one, because now that I'm experiencing a similar thing, and I've experienced love similar to you, how you're just in this intense love bubble. Don't get me wrong, I'm in this intense love bubble as well, but there's also uh I can't explain it. You're not letting it swallow you whole. You still go for your goals. And I feel like that's the healthiest, most mature. Yeah.
All
So that's
right.
a
Well,
good
that's
sign. It's
cool that
actually a good sign.
we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is. And if it doesn't work out, then you know what? It doesn't mean that we failed. But I think this is a more mature experience. I think this is
Mm-hmm.
just the next level. It's the next evolution. It's okay. I'm older now. I've had all of those experiences. I know what it means. I'm more familiar with what I'm looking for. And I know that, and I think this is the most important point, actually. I do not need someone else to complete me, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes me head over heels for someone, is when I think that they can complete me, because I'm like chasing after them, because if my life depends on it. But now I know that I don't need anyone to complete me, so I'm not losing myself in the relationship.
Yeah, that is exactly where you want to be. That's where you want to be. And that's when you find the one. It's not that you find the one to complete you, it's finding someone who you're completely compatible with and you can go through life with. And I guess this is probably the longest you've been single, if I'm
Since I was
surprised.
born.
This is the long
That's the longest I've been
guilty.
single, 18 years. Yeah. I was single
Longest.
for when I broke up with my ex. We broke up in September 2019. So it's been all the way through from then until a month ago,
Wow.
less than a month ago. So I don't know how many months that is, but it's over, I think it's 2 years, right? Yeah.
Nearly 2 years. And I remember our last conversation, you were talking about how some people get into relationships to validate themselves, to have that person there that's constantly telling them you're amazing, I love you. And I think when you spend a good amount of time single, not that I can talk, but I make sure that I get to know myself in the relationships. In recent years, I make sure that I don't lose myself. I still follow my passions. But I think when you spend that time, you learn to love yourself and validate yourself. And I think that comfort blanket allows you to go into, you wouldn't commit if she wasn't worth it. You know what I
No,
mean?
and here's an interesting test that I did. I'm just being completely honest again. There were a number of people that I had like been talking to, and I had met with a few of them. And it was this last one that I met with, which I had already been talking with. Veronica is the name of my girlfriend. Been talking with her for over a year online.
Oh, wow.
That's how we do it, y'all. That's how we do it on Tinder. So yeah,
Wow.
that basically, no, but basically because I was stuck and I couldn't go anywhere in quarantine, so I had to
Yeah.
find, a way to socialize and feel like I was having some progression towards meeting someone. And we were speaking for over a year, and she never, thank God, lost interest. But I had also been speaking with other people, and I met with someone who was living here as well. And as much as I wanted her to be compatible with me, she just wasn't. We just weren't compatible with each other. And at some point, you have to recognize that your intuition is really powerful and it's telling you something. It's the same as when, I guess this is for all the stubborn people out there, those very stubborn people like me growing up, really stubborn, wouldn't listen to my parents, wouldn't listen to my father, wouldn't listen to my instinct. I would just listen to other people and my childish desires. And it got me in some really interesting situations. And I've got some really interesting memories and stories and experiences. But I think my life would have been so different. I don't know if it would have been better or worse. And I'm not trying to go back and change things. But I feel like if I had just listened to myself and my father a little bit more, I probably would have been maybe in a better financial situation, or maybe I would have had accomplished more by now. I don't know. But there's a lot of wisdom that gets shared with you. And if you don't follow it, you're going to have to repeat that lesson over and over again. And I did. I repeated the lesson over and over again. And now I'm 38 years old, and maybe I got it right this time. But I did listen to my instinct. And it's hard because you can get hooked on chemistry, but chemistry is not a good thing to base a long-term relationship on. It's a terrible thing to base a long-term
100%.
relationship on.
100%. I totally agree. And for some people, it's it is chemistry, and some other people, purely sex.
Yeah.
Some women will stay with a man just because the sex is amazing and it's the best sex I've ever had. And it's, they will stay with that person. And it's just, I don't know, it's hard because I
Men
guess
do that. I think men probably do that more than
men
women.
do it as well. Oh, you think? I'm not too sure.
What are you talking about? Of course they do.
Yeah, see, okay.
I had that problem. That's the problem that I had. I would just stay in a relationship because it felt good. It wasn't even just the sex, it was everything. It was like, anyway, it's dysfunctional. It shows you that you're not matured yet enough to know what's best for you. And that's just the same. That's the simple fact of it.
And here we are now. As I am now pregnant.
Yes, congratulations.
I don't know if you want to
oh my God.
put this on. I know, crazy.
How
I'm
far
so
along
happy.
are you?
Halfway.
Wow. You do not look, so I don't know how you're supposed to look when you're halfway, but you don't look like you're halfway.
Thank you. I've been working out so much.
So how do you feel about work when you're pregnant though?
Clement, I feel like we could talk for literally forever. And I feel like this podcast is going to have to cut. The bladder is going to.
Oh yeah, no, just go.
No, not yet. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Right.
But
let's see how far we
what,
can go with before you really need to go to the toilet. But yeah, no, how do you feel about the whole, okay, let's talk about this because this is probably the main reason why I wanted to get you on. So what the hell happened with you after our last episode?
Okay, when I need to know what month it was. So I think we left off. I got the scholarship at the university to undertake my PhD, and I was just launching a campaign, an international campaign for Alki. I think until about March, all was going well. Then it got so overwhelming, having to juggle a full-time job and a full-time degree of this intensity. And it was all crazy. It's been a crazy time. But if you're asking about the relationship, I don't know what you're asking about. Because
no, all of this is interesting stuff. How the hell did you, okay, so you moved on emotionally from your ex that you unfortunately couldn't see anymore due to extenuating circumstances, let's say, COVID circumstances.
Okay. So let's talk about that, because I was actually happy to preach about long distance relationship. It's interesting because you can keep the connection alive, and to anyone who is in a long distance relationship, it is very special. You do certain things that makes the other one feel that you're in love and you have this bond. But I feel like it was more along the lines of, who knows who's going to listen to this? My partner, my current partner is probably going to listen to this. I had traveled so much and done so much. And when I had come back to America from Portugal and the US, I had this need to live some sort of a stable life. I sacrificed everything to go over there. And I had just finished my degree in honors. I just finished studying neuroscience, and to go over there, to drop everything, much to my parents' horror, it was a big juggle. And then coming back to Australia, having COVID hit, I realized, okay, I can now actually focus on my career and building myself up. I can't do anything. I can't travel. I need to really get my shit together and become a lot more responsible.
Did you get
COVID? So that was my main. No one has had. If we have about,
oh God, yeah,
5 cases of COVID in Brisbane, they lock everyone down.
But what are you guys going to do? I don't want to make this into a whole COVID conversation, but what are you guys going to do? Because I've been thinking about that. Like, you're so scared of getting it, but then you're going to be stuck indoors forever.
Clement, honestly, I got lots of friends overseas, and seeing you guys just able to travel everywhere is open but Australia right now. I think it's in North Korea that's still locked down. And it's just, I just feel, oh, gosh, I feel like people should travel at their own risk. Our vaccination rates are pretty high at the moment. So I think once we reach 80% of the population, they are going to open the borders, but it's just horrible. And right now I'm actually needing to import a lot of raw ingredients for the fresh batch of oil, and I want to work on a few more products. But there are some countries that we can't actually receive any postage from, including the US, and it's just a real
wow.
It's just been a real pain. And I think, oh God, we've been doing this COVID thing for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
And we were still able to post or receive. There were massive delays, but now for it to be restricted for an indefinite period of time is really frustrating. I don't know. Hopefully we open up soon. They're thinking maybe March next year, around then.
My God, that long. That is insane. I couldn't even. So I thought it was hard enough in the United Kingdom, which is where I was locked down. But to hear what you guys are going through, that's insanity. Look, okay, let's not make it about COVID. Okay, you're doing that. Let's hope it ends as soon as possible. So when did you meet this new guy who quickly became the father of your unborn child?
You're going to love this story. It actually sounds like from a movie, and I feel terrible because they both do. And the weirdest thing about it is I told you when I first met my ex on Santa Monica Pier, and there was love in the air, there was a vibe, and I think I finally felt that I'd met someone that I could raise a family with. I felt that I could see that happening, and he was the first guy that I felt that with. And I feel very silly to say the same thing that's happened. It's 2 guys in a row now who are total winners. But Jason, my partner's name, it's compatibility on all kinds of levels. He's completely amazing. But if you want to know how we met, it was my hot neighbor.
Oh, okay. He was literally your neighbor. That's amazing. That's so funny. For how long though? He'd always been your neighbor, or did he move in, or did you move into
the funny thing is, I was friends with all the girls at the complex, at the apartment building, and I moved in May, and we had seen him walking past around June. So we'd been perving on him for a good 6 months. He just walked past on his way home, and we would just perv and think, who the hell is that guy? He would never look up, would never give us any attention. So we were just being seedy women on the balcony.
He's playing it smart. Yeah, he was playing it smart. Got it.
But for 6 months, he didn't look up once, had no interest. And after a while, I thought, this guy has either got a girlfriend or he's gay, because he's not even like waving at all. And then one day, 6 months later, so end of last year, we found him in our hallway trying to fix the fire alarm because it was beeping. And then I just, in my head, he was. But I was in complete shock because it was that guy that we'd been perving on for months, changing the fire alarm, and I was just beside myself. And
it's like, how did that go? What happened?
I rounded all the girls together and I said, look at this guy changing so I couldn't speak. I was completely shocked. And one of my housemates, I'll call her a housemate, she's a friend, and she said, we need to take you out for coffee to say thank you. And I was like, oh my God. And I didn't think much of it because I was taken, and I actually wanted to hook her up with him because she was very interested. And then we went to coffee and still thought nothing of it. And then I think a little while later, he asked her for my phone number. I told him I was engaged. I said, I'm taken actually.
Oh, wow.
And we can actually still be friends if you want to, but I am taken and I'm happy. I think I said I might not have said I'm happy, but I think I said I was in a long distance relationship, totally platonic friendship for 2 months.
Really?
He was Yes, completely.
And do you think that he wanted to have a relationship with
Completely.
you from the beginning and he was just biding his time? Or he was really just
No,
friendly?
it was, he would say certain things that made me think that he was interested, but I actually didn't know that he was very interested until he wrote me a love letter. And let's not go into the rest of it because he'll get way too embarrassed. But
No,
totally platonic.
this
It
is
was a totally
why
platonic.
this is why Unleashed Love exists, because of this mushy stuff that I rarely cover these days. But this is a breath of fresh air. Look, obviously, I guess after a certain amount of time, the guy's going to be like, she hasn't seen this dude for like 2 months now. And things are going pretty well. This is my chance. And but the cool thing is that it lasted that long and it was going platonically that long. They say that, I think that's a really good way of finding out if you're getting into a relationship for the right reasons, because as in my experience, when something is like an explosion, it's not because you've found someone who's like a great match. It's just chemistry, like overwhelming chemistry, but you don't know anything about them. You haven't spent any time learning about each other. So I think that was a good thing.
I think that's why this is different,
Yeah.
because I went into it with zero expectations. Actually, I was so faithful in that there was no way I was ending my engagement. It just wasn't going to happen. I didn't want to break someone's heart, and it was just playing with my head how long the thing was going to go for. I wanted to be as good as possible, but which is why I didn't expect a relationship. And he didn't either. But I think after about a month, which is when the love letters started coming, I think he realized that he had to do something drastic. He had to chase me and let me know how he was feeling.
Can you help me out with a little marketing clip here? Because I want to know,
Yeah.
like, I think men need to know, do those kind of gentleman-like behaviors work these days? Because a lot of, I would say, toxic feminine messaging has gotten to the heads of many men around the world, and now that whole approach just seems to be off the books for them. So did it work with you?
I have to giggle at that because I guess when it happened, the cutest thing about it was okay, so I had no feelings. I was like, okay, this guy's really attractive, but whatever, I can have attractive friends of the opposite sex because I look at people who they are. I don't care if you're not
height
kind,
doesn't
if
matter.
you're,
Are you serious?
yeah, no, hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, height,
height
no,
does
no, no,
matter.
no,
Okay.
no. No, people can be attractive, but if their heart isn't attractive, I'm not interested at all. If you're super hot but a douche, I give zero, like just no. And so
No, we were
I'm just
talking about
completely
the
like,
whole old-fashioned to you off
okay.
with my dark sense of humor. The whole, yeah. Does it work? Does that traditional approach work anymore?
It's funny that you say that because I just completely had no idea. And he actually called me to the back fence because he's my neighbor. He called me to the back fence. I know, we're like, what, in high school or something? And he gave me a letter and some chocolates. And I thought, this is a bit interesting. We were just having a friendly coffee this morning. And it's because I said no to going over his house to have wine later that evening. I thought, I just saw this guy this morning. I'm not going to go over for wine. And that's a bit naughty. No, it's not going to happen. So I actually rejected him. I said, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And so he called me to the back fence. And when I read his letter, he had just, poured his heart out about how he'd actually been feeling. And it was a complete shock to me because I thought we were just mates. And as sweet as that sounds, I grew up on Disney, so I think, and I'm Filipino,
You've
so
been
I think
indoctrinated by the
culturally,
Hollywood marketing machine.
I feel like I am inclined to the traditional ways of doing things, and I thought it was very sweet. But my best friend, who is Australian, I told her about it, and her reaction was, oh, that is so creepy. And but you would love that shit. She's like, you would love that shit. You love that mushy stuff. And so it's true. So I think for the true romantics, maybe it will still work. For the modern Western woman, maybe not. She thought it was totally creepy and he was a
So if
psychopath.
you're on Tinder, basically the moral of the
Um,
story is if you're searching and
yeah.
using the filters, make sure you're filtering Disney movies and that kind of thing. You'll figure it out along the way. But okay, so it still works, but then in some cases it doesn't. I get it. I understand. It didn't work for me all the time in the past, like when I did that kind of stuff. And
What was the
give me another
worst thing you
marketing clip
did?
here,
What did
but
you
this
do?
time it's for
Yeah.
women. Would it have been different for you, do you think, if you had just said, yeah, let's do wine?
Yeah, totally. I don't know. I am a firm believer in our primal human instincts, and men are hunters. They're hunters. They're hunters. They want to be able to chase. They want to be able to hunt. And if you are giving yourself up too easily, that part of their nature is not being tickled at all. And it's actually one of the reasons why he became so obsessed, is probably not a good word, but I think he's a really attractive guy. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's very attractive. And I think it's always
He's
been so
lovely.
easy for him. He's so lovely. He's beautiful inside and out, and yeah, he's just I'm very lucky. But I think it's always been easy for him. If anything, he's usually been the one who women have cracked onto or approached, or yeah, he's been chased, so he's never had to do the chasing.
All
And
right.
because I was totally not about it, I
It's all
think
making
he
sense
he
now.
woke up. He's, who the hell is this girl who is not wanting to sleep with me while her partner is in another country, who will never find out? She's still being faithful. I'm chasing her. She's rejecting me. What is this? And I think because of that, he actually grew to trust me, ironically, because he was the big carrot being dangled. He was this,
Where is
sorry,
this going, this conversation?
yeah, it's a bit of an innuendo, but he was a big juicy carrot being dangled, and I was Roger Rabbit and not biting. And he just thought it was, I think he was just very perplexed.
Huh, that is really interesting.
Mm,
I like that. I think that you are hit the nail on the head right there because in my
mm,
experience, again, with this is a very honest conversation and
yeah.
how do I say this? Any woman that I have slept with immediately is
Mm,
literally off the
mm-hmm.
cards for me. Really, I'm not even joking. That's the truth. And unfortunately, that's unfair because I'm sure that a lot of people I've met, and by the way, I haven't slept with a ton of people, but a lot of people that I've met who would have done that or did do
Mm,
that are
mm-hmm,
worthwhile and obviously can bring value and but I just didn't consider it because it was already over in my head. It's
mm-hmm.
crazy how fast these things work. But what do you think it stems from? Where is this coming from? Is it like a desperation? Is it like, oh no, maybe I'm going to lose them. Maybe I should just give them what they want so that they can like me more?
Of women, why women do it. I feel, and I speak to a lot of, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of women, a lot of friends who are still single. So I have both. I've got a lot of women friends who are married and in relationships and that type of thing. And then I've got a lot of single girlfriends. But my single girlfriends who, who are still single, obviously, and that maybe do try to word this in a way that doesn't sound terrible, but I feel like from what I hear, they seem to sleep with people easily because they want to keep them. They think it's a way to create that connection quicker. What better way to create that connection than sex, that physical connection of sex and sharing your body with someone? And it's just so wrong. It's just, I don't know.
You will lose potential partners because you don't do
Mm.
that. But are they really the kind of partners you want? That's
No,
the test right there.
no.
It's, you know what it is? It's a filter. You're
Mm,
being filtered and you're filtering them. So if you can not give your body away. And if men can be okay with women not giving their body away, you're on track to having something real and finding out who you are before it's too late, before it's over. Because
That's
sex is
exactly
the
right.
ultimate thing for men, which is why when it's over so quickly and there's nothing else that's been nourished or curated, then there's no reason to keep going. What's the point?
Exactly right. The hunt is over.
The
And
hunt's
it's
over,
funny
you've
that
already gotten the reward. But I think sex is like best when there's some emotion behind it. There's some
definitely
real connection
definitely there. So he hunted me, and he was just pursuing, and I kept on rejecting, which was probably driving him absolutely insane, because I actually don't think he's been rejected before.
Wow.
Ever, not once. And so I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe it made him feel that I was valuable. No, I do feel valuable too, and that's another one. But it's not that I was even trying to play that game, because I know that I know to not give it up too easily. Traditional Filipino mother, typical men just want the one thing. Yeah, she always said that growing up. But it's more that I wouldn't want to share my body with someone unless I felt totally comfortable, until I felt ready. So it wasn't even just playing the cat and mouse game. It's, why would you want to share your body with someone until you feel totally ready to do that?
Yeah.
I think that makes it a lot more special.
It's really great advice. And it's not, look, if it comes naturally, great. You've had some amazing parenting, you've had some amazing developmental experiences, and it's working for you. If it doesn't come naturally, then you can consciously decide not to give it up too quickly. And I think, just as I'm talking about, and we're talking about women and how women can perhaps find more connection with the men that they date and not, risk losing them too quickly. I think on the flip side, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the conversation, which is that men really need to be conscious of whether they're letting their addictions and their kind of primal desires override potentially what could be a massive regret later in life. You could spend your whole 30s and 40s sleeping with women in a developing country, because that's where you're going to be able to do that, because in developed countries, women generally tend to have more opportunity and aren't pressured to give themselves away, because you don't want to regret that later and say, oh my God, I was an addict and I never knew it.
I guess it's all impulsivity. If they're finding that they're constantly chasing either sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever it be to make them feel good, I think it's the inability to control the impulses. And how do they practice delayed gratification? How being able to do that might be able to prevent them from seeking out things that are giving them pleasure and things that are making them feel good.
Yeah. The whole thing is that study that was done, that's always quoted about the delayed gratification in the kids. They got a control group and they said, if you do this thing, you're going to get a sweet. But then the other group, they said, if you do this thing, you're going to get a sweet. But if you wait for 10 minutes, you're going to get another one. And so it was fascinating, because they followed these children for 10 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they were able to measure that the group that waited the extra 10 minutes to get the extra sweet did much better in life in so many different aspects, professionally, emotionally, in relationships. And they just outperformed the other group. So it really does go to show how much delaying your own gratification and the ability to delay your own gratification has as an impact on the rest of your life in every area, almost, I would say.
It's a discipline, isn't it? Being able to delay that gratification, it takes discipline to do that. And I guess if you have discipline, you can basically do anything.
Yeah. Again, like, we could talk about that forever. I love that kind of stuff. But we've covered so much and your bladder's about to burst. So
it is. You can tell it's all
no,
I
heard you say it the first time and I didn't forget. And I was like, okay, we can go a bit. Maybe we can get one more sentence out of this woman. But
let me just see. Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's every half hour right now. So I've been holding it.
You know, the thing is, you don't have a book, so to speak, right? Because usually people come on here, and I've gotten rid of the whole chat. I used to put these conversations into different groups. I would have like people who are just chats, and then I'd have experts, and I just got rid of all of that, and I'm just putting them all in the same. So usually someone would say, okay, at this point, hey, you can go and buy my book from here, but you have your own
They want to
botanical.
promote something.
Yeah, you got to promote something.
They come in to promote. See, I ticked no to all of that because I just wanted to catch up with you. And I thought, okay, we might talk about relationships. We might talk about business. We might talk about the science side of things. But as I told you, I want to do it legitimately. And maybe in 3 months or 6 months, and I have a publication, and I can deem myself an expert of the brain because that is what I'm studying, then I will promote it.
Okay. I'll do it for you then, since you're so humble. But
Okay.
you have a botanical, a cosmetics
Skincare.
/ botanical company where you do these kind of really nice organic products. What's it called?
Alki. It's a holistic beauty brand. AUKI. Yeah.
Okay. What's the website? Because they're really nice. They look awesome. And I don't know if I'm a target audience of yours. I don't know if it's for women only or whatever, but I'm going to check it out after this as well. But I've seen the ads and they look great.
You need it for your hair. It's been Nigella, not that I can noticeably see it, but Nigella sativa oil has traditionally been used for hair growth and hair thickening. And whether you massage the oil onto the areas of concern or if you consume the capsules, you'll notice less fallout, definitely less fallout, like you'll just see less on the bathroom. And your hair will just get thicker. It's incredible. It's so effective. But the website is alkibeauty.com. And we can ship internationally depending on the COVID restrictions at the moment because, it's not good.
Let's not go into that. That's going to be a downer for the end of the convo. Cool. Okay, I'm going to check out that hair fall thing. I'm going to let you go after this. Do you think that standing on your head for 30 minutes is going to help?
For the circulation? Maybe you can try it. Who knows? It will send blood to that area, and boosting circulation always helps. And maybe you should do it. Let us know how you go. But I'm so happy for you for finding such a beautiful lady and for living your best life over in Colombia right now.
It's amazing.
Honestly,
it's just, I feel so excited for you to do that again. And I hope that the end of the quarantine comes sooner because it's so tragic. But definitely, I feel great. And thank you for that. And yeah, you'll be doing it soon, just like everyone else.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. But
thank you so much. It's been such a
pleasure speaking with you. It's always. I wish this wasn't stopping us for talking longer, but I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Sure. Okay, great. Thank you. It's good to have you on. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe today and you won't miss the next episode. We cover topics like recovering from infidelity, online dating, managing chronic anxiety, and so much more. We're on all the popular platforms, so take your pick, and we'll see you soon.